find we've seen situations where journalists have been arrested for perhaps publishing something that has been deemed false, and apologies have been made. But in some instances, you've found journalists arrested after about a few days or weeks, they get released, but they still do not withdraw their story. That tells you that they are confident in what they've done. And you begin to ask questions. How long will this go? 25 reporters faced prosecution since 2017, and you come in again to say Nigeria, one of West Africa's most dangerous places to practice. And perhaps you send that hug to a journalist who is practicing in Nigeria at this time. It's a new month. It's also safe to say you wish them happy new months, and the task continues, because there's really no rest in this profession. You just have to keep going.
We move.
And sure, yeah, we move. All right, let's check some other dailies for you this morning. The Daily Sun newspaper is up next, and in the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper, toll rises to 18, 42 badly injured. I think that the death toll started from about 6. We got confirmation it was 8. Now we're getting details as to the number of persons who have died from that bomb explosion. That's 18, 42 badly injured. And when you get the meaning of that badly injured, you can only imagine what is going to happen to those people. And of course, here is hoping that they get to recover and fight on to stay alive this time. You find riders to that particular headline. 30 suicide bombers deployed. That's according to official. Purveyors will pay heavy price. That's coming from President Tinubu. Northern governors, UN chief condemn attacks. This is not a good development in Borno State. Looking at the history of that particular state, and when it comes to insurgency and of course terrorism in the country. You find other headlines in the front page of the Daily Sun. Why Southeast governors must work together. That's coming from a former governor himself. That's Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections. That's on page 27 of the Daily Sun. You find more stories in the front page of the Daily Sun this morning. Rotational presidency will promote equity, justice, Ohuabua. That's part of the conversations that's currently trending at this time. NDLEA raids Abuja drug party, arrests 60, intercepts 7.3 billion coding consignments. Borrowing space narrows as Nigeria's debt to GDP swells to 51%. Swear in elected members or be removed from office. Abia PDP chairmanship aspirant tells Speaker. You find that story also in the Daily Sun. More updates on the health crisis in the country at this time. Health emergency, that's the cholera situation. This one says, cholera, Lagos residents lament access to potable water. You find riders to that. Katsina records 118 suspected cases. Oh, the battle continues in the fight against cholera. That is currently an emergency in Nigeria.
The battle continues indeed, and that's to tell us not to rest in maintaining cleanliness around us, especially the personal hygiene and that of your family and your environment is very important at this time in order to stay away.
More importantly, just like the minister said, watch what you eat.
Exactly.
You don't go about eating just anyhow.
All right, from that we check the Vanguard this morning. On the Vanguard we have this one, agony as federal government's retirees grown under 230 billion naira pension arrears. No payment made for over a year. Legally binding upward review suspended for 15 years. Stakeholders call for boycott of government securities. Regular dialogue pressure from labor required. that's coming. Those are the writers too of a story on the retirees grown on the 230 billion naira pension arrears. You can see the faces of some pensioners there. Not exactly not good at all, and it's not encouraging even for the working ones, because you imagine this is what's going to become of me after retirement. Well, we hope that the situation is addressed soon. All right, still on the Vanguard is this one as well. We have this one: why I want Southeast governors to work together, says Obi. Want to know his reason? Check page 37 of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria still using 1966/67 map for survey, according to surveyors. Right, find details of that on page 12 of the Vanguard of this morning. Exit of multinationals, opportunity for local industries, says man. Well, that's a twist to the story, everybody online talking about the exit of multinationals, as it may lead to loss of job opportunities and high prices in the commodities that were earlier produced by these multinationals. But here it's saying, a man is telling us, it's an opportunity for local industrialists to fill up the gap. So if you're interested in any of this, space is available. It's time to launch out. All right, details of that you find on page 22 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And this one from page 14, identified theft brought a brouhaha, yes, securing Nigerians' identity with digital addressing system. And that's coming from Adegui, and it's in fact can't be more important than now. We need it now for digital identification of all Nigerians, and in fact everybody resident in the country, so that insecurities could be easily traced. And on page 6, Congress ex-CEO's death, not suicide. Okay, says family. Details of that is on page 6. But no attacks. Tinubu vows to deal with perpetrators. Details of that you have on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And that will be all from Vanguard newspaper this morning.
And from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, let's check the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune newspaper is leading with a bold one in the front page, which talks about the situation in Borno State. Borno Atiku Obi flay bomb attacks. U.S. offers support. Tinubu assures citizens. You have writers to that particular headline. Terrorists won't go unpunished. That's coming from the President himself, President Tinubu. FG's failure to hold frontline responsible for attacks. That's according to Atiku. Nigerians must be unrelenting in demanding security. That's coming from Obi. We will collaborate with FG to defeat terrorism. That's coming from U.S. government. U.S. Mayor, Boza attack, last kick of a dying horse. That's coming from a U.S. Mayor. You find more stories in the Nigerian Tribune this morning. In politics, Edo APC, PDP trade words over government projects. LG autonomy, FG, Ed, dragging states to courts. That's coming from Okupe. That's Doyi Okupe. Electricity tariff hike. Most universities will become bankrupt. That's coming from Uniben Vice Chancellor. When you're paying electricity charges in millions or billions. Well, let's see how that goes. At the top right corner of the Nigerian Tribune, Song has always appointed Ogbomosho Chief Imam since 1818. That's according to League of Imams. That's on the back of the recent back and forth on the fact that the Imam of Ogbomosho didn't inform the Song that he was going to be traveling for Hajj. So let's see how that goes. The League of Imams stepping into the situation, and hoping that get resolved really, because these things have a way of also generating some other issues. Other headlines quickly in the Nigerian Tribune. Our government policies, infrastructure deficit, threaten Nigeria's $6.5 billion beer market. While capital markets may not be the way out. That's coming from experts. You check that story and more in the Nigerian Tribune for this morning.
All right, the leadership this morning leading with the stories. Bono bomb attacks. Nigeria won't slide into era of fear, Tinubu vows. Find details of that on page 4. Alright, this is the story. Says terrorists will pay heavy price. Let's not return to theater of terrorism. That's coming from Atiku Abubakar, as he warns. Northern governors also saying yes, government condemns attacks. Death toll rises to 21 as security operatives arrest 2 female bombers. Wow, this is not a good version of what a man can do now, having female bombers. But that's not the first time we've been having that incident, but it's quite uncommon for women to do that. Well, we hope that the situation is nipped in the bud and this will be the last of it to be heard, Alright, and we move on the leadership this morning. We have this one also. CBN customs plan fixed import duty exchange rate. Have details of that on page 25 of the leadership this morning. NDLEA intercepts holding worth 7.3 billion naira. Details of that is on page 8 of the leadership. And have this one. Unibank cries out over 280 million naira monthly electricity bill. That's on page 22 of the leadership. And this one still on family. The Bonks Olu Jacob's death rumor. Find details of that on page 7. I wonder why people always speculate that the man is dead. Often you hear the rumor of his death. Please let the old man leave. The veteran actor Olu Jacobs, I still want him around. Alright, details of that you'll find on page 7 of the leadership this morning. And finally on the leadership this morning, we also have this one concerning death also. Congas ex-CEO death, not suicide, says family. Sarah to CBN. Account for missing 100 billion naira dirty notes. Alright, you find this on page 6 of the leadership this morning, and that will be all on the leadership this morning.
From the leadership newspaper, the New Telegraph is next. The New Telegraph is painting another dimension to the cholera outbreak in Nigeria. Let's lead with this. Cholera spreads to Kirikiri Correctional Center. Afflicts 25 inmates. That's in the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper for this morning. Katsina records 118. It says Lagos State government links outbreak to unregulated beverages, contaminated water, as experts blames it on poor funding, maintenance culture. Must do more to surge people's sufferings. That's according to lawyers. You also find this compensation. Communities erecting new structures on coastal highway. That's according to the federal government. You have this one. Highest French poll turnout in 40 years. As far right, 6 historic win. Says one dead as gunmen storm French wedding. Find that story also in the New Telegraph. Here on insecurity, FG's tame posture emboldened terrorists in Northeast. That's according to Atiku. Governors Forum on ending rise of political power blocks. What have we gained really from this rise in political power blocks? Because you find, you say, there's northern governors, southern governors, southeast governors, southwest governors, and all of that. what really are some of the deliverables of all of these blocks to development really of that area. That's a conversation perhaps we'll have in the days ahead. That's it from the New Telegraph newspaper for this morning.
And from the New Telegraph is the Guardian. Let's have the story. Currency commoditization. Empty ATMs dot metropolis as banks trade cash with POS operators. And that's how, because I remember that over the weekend I tried using some ATMs too, and they're not dispensing, so it's true.
Do you still have an ATM card?
I do, yes,
okay.
I do. But it's still part of the system, so
okay.
Why, is this a plan to phase it out? Are you aware of the
someone
conspiracy?
cannot remember the last time he or she used
so you use transfer.
I don't know.
But some,
not me. I'm not talking about myself. So.
Okay.
But really, it's a situation
yeah,
that must be addressed.
Must be addressed. Commoditization of money. You hear the POS operators tell you, we bought it. They bought money with money. Well, the situation needs to be addressed. And we have this one on page 6 of the Guardian this morning. And on page 3, refineries to begin operations before January, Senate assures. And I will have this one on page 45, mayhem looms in North over hardship, Lukman warns. Alright, and this one, how Buhari government failed to recover $69 billion looted funds. Obono Obla. Of that on page 9 of the Guardian newspaper. Endless communal conflicts worsen food insecurity, hunger in Cross River. You find the analysis on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper for this morning. And finally, from the Guardian newspaper this morning is this one. Was a suicide attacks Tinubu mourns, vows justice as death toll rises to 23. Alright, NDLA naps 60 at Abuja drug party, destroys 18,632 kg of cannabis in Edo forest. You find details of that on page 13 of the Guardian newspaper.
Alright, that's it from the Guardian. But yes, we still have the Punch newspaper. Gradually try to close shop on the reviews this morning. The Punch newspaper leading with this bold one in the front page. Import duty. Bank plane grounded as FG goes down on private jets. Find the rider aircraft stopped from flying over alleged 1.9 billion naira unpaid import duties. You also see the picture of the situation in Borno State. Talking about survivors trying or getting medical attention right there in Borno State. UN condemned Borno bombing. Tinubu vows to crush Boko Haram. You also find this one. Police guard Rivers Hospital treating explosion suspect. Yeah, because you can never tell what could happen if that place is not placed on high alert. That's talking about police officers guarding that particular hospital. Suspected others, Ak Ogun rice farmer to death. That's sad. But of course, Ondo State is in the news here in the front page of the Punch newspaper. TCN repairs plunge Ondo Ekiti to 2-month blackout. It's already started according to what they said. They say from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. there will be no electricity in the next 2 months. That's July and August. Let's see how we get to cope with that. Of course, reaction is already increasing following that announcement. How do you expect people to go about that productive hour without electricity of any form from the distribution company or from the transmission company? Let's see what will happen to businesses, those that are still managing to shuffle around using their generator and electricity supplied by government. But the situation will tell. Let's see what will happen at the end of the day. Japa, there's more in the Punch newspaper. It says Japa outrage as UK-based driver remains on FG payroll. That's confirming what the federal government said recently. FG withdraws 5 oil blocks from 2024 bid round. Senate resume probe as AGF submits 30 trillion naira loan document. You find that story in the Punch newspaper and more this morning.
Alright, so from the Punch newspaper, we briefly take some stories. And we have this one: Man United office player plus cash for Osimhen. Ali ready to pay his release clause. Napoli to slash strikes price again. Find details of that on page 6 of the Sporting Sun this morning. And Lookman tempted with 16 billion naira Saudi offer. You find details of that on page 6 of the Sporting Sun. I'm going to ask you, Zaid, how are you not tempted with this amount? The sports.
I'm warming up for that 17.
Really warming over the 17?
Of course, yeah.
You're disqualified.
Start from there.
Alright, with that, we ended on the newspaper's headlines for this morning. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, it's the discussion for today. Don't go away.
Is fun. But as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
As we are all aware, this is also the year for our governorship election. Expectedly, political activities will gain prominence as we march towards the election. However, let me implore all political parties, aspirants, and their followers to eschew violent conduct that can threaten the peace and tranquility of our state, and ensure that they follow strictly the guidelines issued by the electoral umpire. The election should be a contest of ideas and choices and not an opportunity to settle political scores or an excuse for calumny.
Ọ̀sálẹ̀ lórúkọ tí ó ṣe bá bínú lọ́kì orí mi sàn ayédàtiwa nípínlẹ̀ Ondo ẹ jẹ́ ká parapọ̀ kájọ gbé lárugẹ. Ayédàtiwa tá bá parapọ̀ gbé lọ́kì orí mi sàn lárugẹ nípínlẹ̀ Ondo. Àsọ̀wá ayédàtiwa ẹni bá ní lọ́kì torí ẹ̀sùn láyé da tiẹ̀ nípínlẹ̀ Ondo oore ọ̀fẹ́ àtàǹfààní lánàá lọ́n gbé káwa mọ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ondo láti fún wa ní lọ́kì orí mi sàn ayédàtiwa ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ẹjẹ́ dà gìrìgì kóre mọ́ra lẹ́kùn ìdìbò mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa Ondo South Ondo Central Ondo North. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ méjèèjìdínlógún. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa fún ìtẹ̀síwájú àwọn iṣẹ́ ribiribi tó ti ń bọ̀ látẹ̀yìnwá tí ò dáwọ́ dúró. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa àtàwọn iṣẹ́ tuntun tó tún ti ń lalẹ̀ wù. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa ṣíṣètò ìjọba tó mọ́yán lórí tó tún bu ìkúnyàn. Ó dàrọ̀rùn ó dàtiwa ìgbárùkù ti gbogbo mùtúmùwà ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ àti ìgbàgbọ́ nínú gómìnà Ayédàtiwa láti ṣe àṣeyọrí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ṣe jẹ́ ilẹ̀ onítẹ̀síwájú àti ìfẹ́ iyì àti òtítọ́ èyí tí gómìnà Ayédàtiwa dúró fún. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ibi àmúyangàn ìtẹ̀síwájú lọ́pọ̀ àṣẹgun wa àsìkò yìí gangan ni kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká dìde ká kárí mọ́ra torí ayé ti dá tiwa nípínlẹ̀ Ondo.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
Thank you so much for rejoining us on AM Today this morning. First, what will be catching our attention for discuss will be in the sports sector. Over the weekend, the work was organized. They call it Olympics Day Run right here in Akure, the Ondo State capital, where from the governor's house to the stadium right here in Akure, top government functionaries and of course sport lovers and athletes had to process or run, so to say, down to this to the stadium ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics. But of course, that aside, right here in Nigeria, it's just the end of the football season, talking about the top flight league in the country. And for us here in Ondo State, the two teams, that's the Sunshine Queens and Sunshine Stars, we understand that the sports commissioner has given the players about 3 weeks of holiday to reunite with their family. We'll take a look at the top flight football league in Nigeria, the season that just concluded, and of course try to spotlight some of the things that needs to be done during this break, and of course for the betterment of our league, of our sport. I've been joined by a sports journalist on the program this morning, former chairman of the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, Ondo State chapter, and of course the man who's done sport for a long time. That's Wahab Bankole. Good morning, thank you so much, Wahab.
Thank you very much, sir. It's nice to be here. I don't know what you were doing. Jamal has done sports for a long time.
Of course, when you look at what you've done for a number of years in that industry, it's safe to say, yes, you're part of those who refer to as stakeholders in the game. Let's take a look at the Nigeria Premier Football League. Just ended some days ago, and luckily, Sunshine Stars scaled through the ordeal by maintaining their top flight status. Yeah. Enugu Rangers winning the league, and of course, a lot of happenings in that long stretch of matches. What particularly caught your attention in that season-long fight for the trophy?
Well, of course, to God be the glory. Let me say happy new month to you, because you know it's the beginning of a new month, and we need to actually thank the Almighty God for sparing our lives to this moment. For the Nigeria Premier Football League, I think it was indeed a very long season, and every football stakeholder, especially in Ondo State, who have to agree with us the fact that it was a long battle for Sunshine Stars of Akure to actually escape relegation. A number of factors were put into the stuff for Sunshine Stars not to be playing the lower division this soccer season. And to God be the glory, the Akure-based team was able to rise to the occasion, and that is exactly why they will not be in the lower division, but remain maintaining their status in the NPFL next soccer season. And we have to give kudos to the state government, and the players, and also the sports commissioners for doing that for Sunshine Stars. That's for Sunshine Stars. But for the league itself, I think a lot of things actually happened in the just completed season. One particular incident that will go down, that will actually continue to refresh the memory of football stakeholders across the country, was that particular match involving Banda Rangers International of Enugu, which was Derby, and one of the matches that actually expected to crown the season. At the end of the day, apart from the beautiful serene environment, large amount of fans at the stadium, everything was perfectly done, but it ended in a show of shame, because Enyimba never they display what I would call unsportsmanship behavior. They never allowed the match to be concluded how it also had been concluded. At the end of the day, the match was abandoned for quite some time here and there, because a penalty was awarded against the team, and the players did not take the situation maturely, and they had to work out this pitch, and a lot of things happened. But thank God for the NPFL being led by our own son of the soil here, for the swift reaction to that situation where Enyimba were fined, and 3.3 goals were deducted. They were deducted 3.3 goals, and that was one of the reasons why Rangers were able to be crowned champion as far as Nigeria Premier Football League is concerned. But you can't take anything away from Rangers of Enugu, because it was never a sprint. The season was indeed a marathon. And for you to have played 38 matches across the season, playing the FA Cup and other engagements here and there, and for you to emerge champion ahead of the likes of Enyimba, Remo Stars, even 3SC of Ibadan, fought a very good fight to actually get to the continent. But at the end of the day, it's good. It's just about 3 teams that will be, representing us as far as the league is concerned. But the 4th team has just been added just about 2 days ago right now. when, Academy Warriors recorded victory over Abia Warriors to pick the last fourth spot on the continent, which is going to be the CAF Competitions Cup, where, winning the President Federations Cup in Nigeria. But all in all, I think we have to give it to the organizers of the league, NPFL, for doing a very good job. They actually promised that they are trying to regulate the season, to be, in line with whatever we are trying to get in Europe. Not in a situation whereby season will have ended or maybe gets to midway in Europe. The here in Nigeria will just be trying to start now. I think the NPFL being there by Ngalibele has tried everything possible to really ensure that that team is put on board. At the end of the day, I think everybody is trying to applaud the situation. And as it is now, the new season will be told will be starting on the 31st of August. And I think everything now is now trying to prepare. And that's one of the reasons why Sunshine Stars, and Sunshine Queens were given break now, 3 weeks break by the, our sports commissioner for them to go, refresh, reunite with their family, try to review whatever, try to review the season. What did we do right? What did you do wrong? How do we, improve on whatever we have on board? So those are some of the things. But even one of the high points of the season was the fact that the league was returned back on television. It was start time now. It's now beaming the matches live and giving us some kind of leverage as far as the league is concerned. Try to give us the quality that we deserve. And even the players now, they have an avenue to showcase their talents to the entire globe now. Even revenue stuff coming into the pulse of the NPFL.
Okay, I was just asking that just as the season is about to begin, comparing the acceptance of the NPFL with the Premier Leagues, the popularity even amongst Nigerians, what is the shortcoming? Why is it that Nigerians are not so eager to say, so Nigerian club is mine, just as they want to associate with those foreign ones? I
think it's about mindset now, what we believe in. What in the recent past now, there was nothing to actually excite people about the NPFL. But this time around, now going back in the last 2 seasons or thereabout now, the leadership has been doing something spectacular to really ensure that the NPFL is brought back to that level, and is something that will entice just part of Nigeria. Exactly. But there's no way you can compare, the popularity or the acceptability of the NPFL or the EPL, English Premier League, or even the European League generally, the EPL, the La Liga, the French Ligue 1, the German Bundesliga, even the Portugal Superliga, compared to what we have here in Nigeria in terms of popularity or acceptability. But all the same, I think everybody needs to come together. All hands must be on deck by every stakeholder involved now to really ensure that we do something spectacular in that regard, to really see that, okay, the level that we are thinking that the NPFL should be among Nigerians, we have to be. You can remember in times past, nobody was talking about the NPFL, the EPL. Where you see Rangers, taking on stationary stores of Ibadan, of Lagos. When you see IICC of Ibadan taking on, Leventis United, you see the stadium packed full. Everybody here at bottom. It got to a point when some factors actually discourage Nigerians now, discouraging quote now from attending the matches now, from accepting the results of those matches. When we have home win at all costs, when it's by home team, we always win at all costs. But this time around, I think this trend is changing. We've seen, in the just of complete season where a number of teams recorded, victories away from home, and I think all things being equal, I think we are thinking to get there. It has not, we have not gotten there, but I think the margin or the gap, is being bridged.
All right, Wahab Bankole, I'm looking at a news story here from Punch Sport Extra. We didn't get the opportunity to review that in our newspaper review segment, but it says, "Leave Osimhen alone." That's coming from the sport minister, Eno, cautioning the NFF or Napoli striker. That's about the saga between
Olise and
I know this is outside the NPFL now, but of course it's still about football, because this is someone who also had to rise from the country, and of course before getting a big shot in the big stage. When you look at that saga and how it started and what has followed, what do you make of it?
Of course, it is something that highly disturbing, very unfortunate, because I never expected, to decision to get to that level. People have been able to, people are apportioning blames to, some people are blaming Osimhen, some are blaming, SY coach of the Super Eagles, Finidi John. Some are saying, well, even at that, even if Finidi had, said whatever Osimhen said, he said, that Osimhen had no right, in quote now, to have, gone, on social media to lambast the coach in that regard, because your coach is your coach naturally, because whatever Osimhen is trying to achieve right now, I think Finidi has achieved virtually everything. The only thing that Finidi did not win when he was playing for Nigeria, which Osimhen now has, is the African Player of the Year crown. And for you now, to just say, if you look at that video, some people are beginning to lose their respect in quote now for Osimhen, because people even compare him to the popular, this popular hip hop artist Portable. That what is the difference between Osimhen and Portable now? Following the outburst. So I think it's something that one must be able to, control naturally. And Finidi George actually, denied the entire story. And if you take a look at it, I think the sport minister now is trying to settle the rift now, using some kind of maturity and behind the scene. That's why it's now culturing Nigeria, because the more people are beginning to talk about the issue, the more the issue is being aggravated.
All right, so finally, Mr. Makole, for next season in the NPFL, what do you have, just one thing you hope to see we improve on?
Officiating. Hooliganism must be stopped, and I think if you can improve the level of officiating, they stop hooliganism, I think we are good to go. And I want the NPFL to actually sustain and improve on the live television coverage.
Thank you so much, former Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, Ondo State Chapter Chairman Wahab Bankole, veteran sport journalist, also in that category. Really, we'll take a break at this time, and when we come back, we move from the world of sports to the world of politics. Stick around.
Yes, welcome back from that break. As we promised you that when we return, we'll be taking a dive into the political arena. And this morning we'll be looking at Ondo 2024 and NNPP's preparedness, for that election. And with us this morning is Honorable Benga Edema, the Guba candidates for the New Nigerian People's Party. It's nice to have you in the studio this morning. All right, Honorable Edema, you were once a member of APC, and till the end of the tenure or the time when the late governor was in power, you were a part and parcel of that political party. And now, how come you emerged? I mean, how easy was it for you to have emerged of the candidate of the NPP?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me around here. I was a member of the APC up to June 5, 2024, before I voted to NNPP, and to the glory of God, who saw certain qualities in me and decided to give me the ticket to run as the candidate of the party in the next gubernatorial election. And I left APC because what happened to PDP that made people to where it is already creeping into APC. That is lack of democratic norms. You see, the essence of democracy is to allow the people to be able to talk, is to allow the owners of the party, who are the card-carrying members, to be able to determine who will run their ticket. But I found that it was lacking, or it has crept into APC, so that you can no longer guarantee. Whereas instead, a set of cabal or people who just sit somewhere and begin to write results. And this is against our democratic norms. Even the Electoral Act says that if you want to conduct a primary, that is why it made it compulsory, mandatory for INEC to be given a notice as to the location and the time, and to be given a notice as to where you are going to conduct that primaries. If you are going to conduct a primary that is even for all the card-carrying parties, direct primary, you are bound to give the list, the register of your party to INEC. These are mandatory provisions of the Electoral Act, which were lacking in the last primary that was held on the 30th of April 2024 by APC. And since they have refused to listen to the yearning of the masses, I knew by instinct that the end product of such is that the party is already sinking in Ondo State. And so I had to look for the party, to go to a party that is ready to accept me, that will conform with the democratic norms. Well, for instance, when I joined the party, we had to go through another set of primaries, and I emerged. So a party that does not follow this democratic norms is bound to fail. That was what killed PDP in Nigeria in 2024, 2025.
Yeah, we've seen all shades of, we've seen the rise of several political parties, even in Ondo State, and the varying shades of success and all that. Then what do you think makes NNPP as distinct, that is going to endear them to the electorates?
What makes NNPP to be different from the other political parties is going to be our programs and the personality of the persons, the alter ego of party. If you have the alter ego of the party that is known to Nigeria today is His Excellency Rabiu Kwankwaso, and they call him Amana. They call him Amana because they know that when he speaks a word, he keeps to it. He's a pact or a covenant-keeping person. And I also can pride myself that I don't lie to. I don't believe that politics is about lying. I don't believe that politics is about deceit. Politics is about service and tell people what you are capable of doing and what you will not do. So don't come and promise people what you will not do when you know that you will not do it. Rather, tell people what you are capable of doing. You have the capacity to do. But a lot of people have taken politics to mean, it's all about deceit. And a lot of people have also accepted the fact, politicians are deceitful people. I am not one of them. So that is what is standing us out. The leadership of the party, the mantra of the party, education for all, because that is our mantra. And the quality of the persons that we are picking, and that is me. You see, without being immodest, none of the people that we are content to, they can claim to have what I have as pedigree in terms of length of service in politics, in terms of educational attainment, in terms of skills that we can, governance skills that we can put to bear to touch the lives of our people. None of them can say they have that pedigree.
Apart from service, politics is also about winning elections,
yes.
And just as you mentioned, the man at the ends of affairs at your party at the national level was unable to win the presidential election. So what makes you think there's going to be victory?
That he did not win in 2019 does not mean he cannot win in 2027. You see, politics is about dynamism. And the dynamics in politics are in 2020, in 2023, what obtained may no longer obtain in 2027. For instance, I was a member of the APC in 2023. I worked assiduously for the party. I was a commissioner in the NDDC. So I spent my time, money, energy to make sure that APC won where I superintended over. But I won't be there to superintend over for APC 2027. Rather, I will be superintendent for NNPP. And I have this uncommon grace, I've said it. In 2003, when the Governor Gagu was to contend against the Governor Adefarati, I was in PDP. PDP was not in government when I joined PDP. But to the glory of God, I joined PDP and we made it happen. In 2027, I was still in PDP, but later I moved to Labour Party. By 2025 and 2012, APC and Labour Party won. I also won a ticket to be in the Ondo State House of Assembly by reason of my going to Labour Party. In 2015 or 2014, I joined APC. APC was at its formative thing at that time. Even in 2014, Governor and President Jonathan Goodluck was the president of Nigeria. Buhari was not even a candidate of APC at the time I joined in October 2014. But by the grace of God, by 2015, Buhari won. Jonathan was given the boot. I have joined NNPP now. Go and find out. In 2027, we're going to form the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this year, I'm going to win as the governor of Ondo State. I'll be sworn in on the 24th of February 2025 by the grace of God.
With all persons, as much as I'm tempted to really look back to where you're coming from, and of course how you've arrived at this point, talking about you imagine as the candidate of the NNPP in this election, let's just project forward because of our time. Talking about what you're bringing to the table, really, for the people. You talk about you being perhaps the lucky man who moves around and, of course, ensure that the party gets
grace. It's grace.
Of course. So, this time around, you're in the NNPP.
Yes.
Somewhat, some say, unpopular when you look at this part of the country. NNPP down southwest. It appears you're the first man who is going to be hoping, really, that you win something in an election for NNPP. What strategies are you placing to achieve this win?
Yeah, thank you so much. It will appear as if NNPP may not be as popular as you think within our folder because it's an emerging party. All the parties at one time or they have emerged by way of evolution from PDP, whether to Labour Party, but one thing that stood out as to why people vote, personality of the candidate is also matter. And that's why I say I pride myself to say the personality of the alter ego of this party, that is Rabi Ekwankwaso. And my own pedigree is enough to give the party the winning strategy. You will recall when President Buhari, as the candidate or as the aspirant in APC, was asked, "What are you bringing to the table?" He said, "I'm bringing my integrity." How much do you have? He said he had only 20 million naira in his account. But he's bringing his integrity to the table. So I'm also bringing my integrity to this table. And by my integrity, what do people of Ondo State expect of me? First of all, I've told them that to fight poverty, we have to do something. You must give the local government back their autonomy. It is this same constitution that President Governor Agagu operated and gave local government almost all the things that they needed as a local government to function. When you allow local government to function the way they will, you are not taking over their markets, you are not taking over tenement rates, you are not taking over a motor park, you are not taking over cemetery. All the things that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under Section 7 and the first schedule has put as the core competence of local government. Let us return the local government functions to them. That way, you will be driving away poverty from the land because a lot of people will not need to come to Alagbaka to think of depending on government. They will rather go to their respective local government headquarters. They will be given contracts, local government will do roads, local government will do a lot of activities that will give jobs to the youth in those local governments. We are going to put that back because local government autonomy goes beyond the money coming from Abuja as the statutory allocations. It also involves all the IGR's quotients of the local governments, which I have enumerated: tenement rate, signage, market, all those things. Let us return them back to the local government so that local government people will have the opportunity of doing roads. By doing roads, they will employ their youth. By doing a lot of things, they will be able to make the people to function and function properly. If you go to the local government today, they have a lot of workforce that are not working. They don't have any schedule. We are going to put an end to that. That is the first way to drive away poverty. Two, the issue of investment and industrialization. If we don't do investment and industrialization, we cannot say we want to drive away poverty. And I have a pedigree in this regard. As the chairman of the Ondo State Oil Producing Development Commission, the SOPADEC, we created a microfinance bank, Memphis Microfinance Bank. It's near the Zubik pharmacy there. And if you know, the essence of it is to make credit available to our people to be able to do their work. Somebody wants to buy a packet of fish to be able to sell. Why don't you allow him to get money? That is why we funded Memphis. So I have done it in Sobadek. I will do it again as the governor from those states.
But for some would say, when it comes to governance, it's a whole lot. A lot of things have to come to place for you to be able to achieve some of these lofty ideas that you've said you want to implement, really. But again, the question will be, will the NNPP really be the last political party for Honorable Gbenga Edema, looking at his history, coming from the PDP to Labour Party to APC, now to NNPP? Or is he being moved by his ambitions?
Well,
rather than what he wants to do?
Most times I don't move by reason of ambition. I move.
But in this case, you've moved.
No,
ambition has moved.
It's not ambition that propelled me. It's because something is lacking in the party I'm coming from. If they had conducted the free and fair primary and I lost, and I know the number of votes I had, I wouldn't have to move. But I know that there was no primary. And
why didn't you reject perhaps some say it's an offer to be the NNPP gubernatorial?
No, it's not. The people from those, they want me, and there's only way I can get to them. The only vehicle by which I can tell the people of those states that I want to run is through a political party. The constitution does not allow for independent candidacy. So all these political parties allow more lawyers. You enter one, it's not working well, you jump in, you move. What is important is, well, the people from those states by universal suffrage will determine whether they actually want me or not. And that is what I am presenting to them. I have said I want to do a 7-point agenda, which I have started. And the 7-point agenda can only be done when I win an election. I have it with the people be able to vote for me, except I have a political party to ride on.
Okay. Now looking at considering the zone from which most of the popular candidates for this election are coming from, which is the Southern Senatorial District, which you also happen to be coming from. Yes. Online you hear influencers and people saying, given the impact the power of incumbency could have for Mr. Governor, isn't it better everyone, politicians from that side, give him the support? But here you are, trying to
the power of incumbency
your own cause. So now, don't you think this is going to affect you, at the grassroots?
I don't have any fear in my mind that I'm the next governor from those days. How will I be a governor? I want to be a governor by winning the election through a universal suffrage. Incumbency factor is not cast to go. In Osrc State, Governor Ademola defeated Oyetola, who was the incumbent. Even in political parties, we have seen in primary election where incumbent had lost. Ambode lost in the primary of APC in 2019. Was it 2019? Yes, 2019. So somebody that was not actually known, that is Sanwo-Olu. So there's nothing serious, or the issue of incumbency is not cast on gold or brass. It is because it also has its own deficiencies. Because you are incumbent, the people will be able to assess you and know whether you have done well or you did not do well. So it's both ways.
How far have you, finally, because of our time, how far have you gone with your campaigns? And have you really started with campaigning at all, or it's still in the corner?
You see, nobody goes to a battle without having to plan. Yes, INEC has said we should start our campaign on the 19th of last month. That is when INEC approved by the Electoral Act for political parties to start their campaign. But before I can go to campaign, I have to put up a lot of structures. And in my structure, I have to be, because the campaign is not about this open air campaign you are talking about. We are already networking with people, we are talking to people, and that's a form of campaign as far as I am concerned.
Thank you so
much.
much.
It doesn't have to be loud.
Thank you so much, Honorable Edema. Of course, we get to, perhaps in our subsequent conversation with you, spotlight critically some of this agenda that you have for the people of Ondo State. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right.
Shadi, time to take another break, right?
Yes, we're going to take another break now, and when we return, it's still going to be discussion from the political arena. But go away.
Thank you.
still with us on the end today, and right now we'll be talking still on politics. We'll be looking at Ondo 2024 still, and looking at the chances of APC. It is crucial for the party to give the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, the offer of first refusal for the party's ticket. Ondo State has a rich history, and it's imperative to recognize that no political party has succeeded in winning an election in Nigeria by denying its incumbent the ticket at the primary. These were your words. What gave you so much confidence, in the state?
Thank you very much. We've come a long way. As far as the politics of Ondo State is concerned. And beyond the politics of Ondo State, we have to understand that Ondo State must worth it. Ondo State must be a place that catches attention, where everything works. And for everything to work in Ondo State, then we have to put politics. We can't put politics aside, but we must practice politics in the secondary arena and put interest, patriotism, into consideration. And when you are putting patriotism into consideration in this context, you are actually saying, let's discuss what matters. At the moment, we have a president that is from Yoruba and is doing a lot. Coordinating the economy, using Lagos State as a basis. And looking at Ondo State proximity with Lagos State. Then you look at it that do we have a lot to benefit? Then you will see that there will not be a better time to benefit more than this time, when we have a president who believes in Lagos and in Nigeria as a whole, who is from this place, and our proximity that God has put on us, to be so close to Lagos State. You understand? So when you put all this into perception, then you now begin to look at it that what can be the encumbrances, what can be those obstacles that will not even allow us to see what matters at this time. And those are the things that, political turmoil will not be able to set aside personal ambition, for us to look at what really matters. Because
to what sense?
It's oversubscribed for. And what I mean by oversubscribed for is there are still a lot of things that needs to be fixed for it to be attractive to so many people. You understand? Take for example, the entire IGR of Ondo State, as it were, is not up to the IGR of Alimosho local government in Lagos. Lagos IGR for 1 month is about 2 years IGR in Ondo State. It's not acceptable. When we have lots of people that parade themselves as captain of industry, lots of people who are major, in their different field, as far as the economy of Nigeria is concerned, we have big names and all that. And apart from that, look at it, the industries. Ondo State used to be, where industries, like Oluwa Glass, like Osrc, the Ifon Ceramics, we're talking about the Okitipupa, the oil pump. Comes to power during the time of, the late governor. And Ondo State first, we open Ondo State to be assessed. Because you cannot go to do business anywhere if the place is not accessible. And Ondo State becomes so accessible. In Ondo State today, you can go to Lagos 3 times. As in, we have planes that fly in and out of Ondo State. Before, you cannot come to Ondo State, do your business and go back. So for some portfolio investors, it was a real Herculean task. But don't let me go, those ones are wide, but let me come to this thing to say that continuity is a bedrock of any development, especially from party to party. We see it work in Lagos, especially when you have a presidency that belongs to the same party. So going against an incumbent, which of course was part of, you know, an administration that of course we all believe that has performed in Ondo State. Everybody cannot come and say, okay, I want to be this, I want to be that. We have to make Ondo State to work first. Before now, begin to now see personal interest on how to do it better to experiment. Okay, now, there's Ondo State so sensitive to experiment.
Okay, but what makes you feel or confident that it's the incumbent that will be able to drive this agenda?
Yes, because the stake is on the table. Like normally, you know, we have, you know, the politicians we are incurable optimists. But when you see the kind of resources, the kind of influence that is available to the governors, it will be like you, I don't know, you know, swimming against the tide for you to say you want to like defeat an incumbent governor that is coming at the wish of the people. You know, the way this incumbent governor comes to power is at the agitation of the majority of the people in Ondo. Going against such a person is more or less going against the people. And I'm happy that, you know, because we went around, we went to meet with the chairman of the party, we went to meet with people that matters, and I'm happy they see reason with us. Because in all those letters, what I put in my letter, so that if you look at it, we put on the table facts and figures. We said that it has never happened before. And where it happened, the party paid dearly for it. And exactly, the president shared my thoughts, the chairman of the party shared my thoughts, and we're where we are today.
So what are you really going to be deploying? Because it has to be about the people. It's the people that will vote when the time is upon us eventually. What are you going to be deploying to really meet these people? You've done so much by praising the president and doing so many things, coordinating the economy. But for some Nigerians, when they look at the indices, they say we're not currently looking so good. How for us to connect to the federal, and of course, we have this robust ability to really turn things around. How easy is that task going to be, really?
Yes, we are going to pull the fact. There's nothing, you know, beyond the truth. Truth is always truth, no matter the way you want to put it on the table. So what we are going to do is to be able to put the fact on the table and actually remind the people where they are coming from. See, it is very easy for a woman, you know, to forget the joy of childbirth at the moment of child labor. Very, very easy, because the labor will be so intense. She might even say, who sent me? If you are in the labor room, you say, who sent me? Ha! I will not try this again. But the moment the child is born, what happens? Joy, everybody celebrates. So it is very easy when people are going through, you know, challenges. So I can't deny that people are going through challenges, but these are necessary challenges to be able to, you know, get to our destination. We cannot continue to do these things the same way and expect different results. So we're we can see some industries coming up. We can see opportunity opening up. Now we can see what is happening Calabar to Lagos to Calabar. We can see what is happening through Badagry to this thing. You can see over 1 trillion naira palliative being rolled out. We can see agricultural sectors. I can tell you, I can go ahead and so you need to just tell the people, because most of the time the problem that, you know, we do face is lack of orientation, lack of information. Nigerians are very understandable and reasonable people. Ondo State are better. Ondo State are appreciative. Ondo State wants good life. But you have to carry them along. You don't want anybody to, you know, to take them for granted. Or what you just need to tell them is the stake. And when you see what is the stake, we need job. We need to use our proximity, you know, to develop. Lagos State is 7th largest. So when you have a federal government in alliance with the state government, the same policy, the same government, then it gives you dividends of democracy than when you have it the other way. And we have tested them. We have tested them, and we see what they've done, and the pain has not been totally healed. So what we just need to tell the people is that see your pain before, see where we are, and this is where we are going. And all of us, we are in there together.
Okay, Honorable Ajikwe, talking about industrializing Ondo State. Because basically people say, oh, Ondo State is a civil service state and all that, but there is need to industrialize the state, as we've agreed. And most of the time, it is during political campaigns that we hear politicians talk about the industrial potentials of the state. Once they get to power, it becomes a matter, it's as if it's difficult to actually make do their promises during campaigns. Do you see, Mr. To Ondo State, the bitumen, refining the bitumen, and some other companies that were either to moribund. During campaigns, we hear resuscitation of these things. But once they get to power, what exactly is the problem? Why is it that, because your party too has been in power, and we've not seen much in this regard. So do you see, Mr. Governor, bringing this promise to fruition?
Well, thank you very much. Let me start from where you stopped, that you have not seen much. It depends on what much you are looking at. It is very, very dangerous, let me put it that way, for people to want to be spoon-fed. No. Ondo States, we are not like that. Ondo States are hard-working people. Ondo States want to work and earn. You understand? Ondo States want to be carried along. And I also want you to see that if you are on the space of industrialization in Ondo State, you will see, and I will not say that we are that we have achieved a lot. I know if you being vast in Ondo State, industrial space, you will see that a lot of things is happening right there. Before 2015 or 2016, when the APC took over in Ondo State, 95% of transactional deposit in Ondo State belongs to the government. It means that if there's deposit of 100 million naira in Ondo State, in banks in Ondo State, 95 million belongs to the government. But as I'm talking to you now, over 45% belongs to the private sector. That is a huge lot. So we are coming up. And most of those industries that are cited in Ondo State, they are cited to be able, they are special vehicles to be able to utilize the resources. And I'll go back to my point. My point is that a lot of people are not aware. Some intentionally, they don't want to be aware. Why? Because there's politics. And that's why I said our politics is oversubscribed. You understand? Because people now feel that I can be an SC, collect 240,000, instead of going to sell ethanol in Ondo Leyin and make times 20 of that in a month. People prefer to be a councillor. People prefer to be SSA to Mr. Governor. People prefer to even be special advisor to Mr. Governor than to go and buy cassava. We have a cassava to ethanol plant in Ondo State that is over 1,500 tons of cassava on daily. And can I tell you that for the over 5 or 6 years that place has been in operation, we have not surpassed 500 tons a day. What happens to the remaining 1,000? Is it that we don't have land? Is it the culture of Ondo State that decentralization?
The help from government really also matters in achieving some of these
decentralization, things. Information and decentralization.
Because you get
this government purpose to make business conducive to be done. The government will not do business for you.
But the government can also drive.
The government, it now depends on what you say drive. A lot of people are on that space. There's no competition. So what I'm saying is that it's not competitive enough. Do you know what a ton of cassava worth now? A dry cassava. Do you know how much you make on a ton of a dry cassava? So why would I waste my time to want to be an SSA to Mr. Governor? If I can just supply only 2 tons of cassava in a month, I get more than what an SSA will make.
Perhaps the governor should take a look at perhaps sending some of his SSAs back to the farm. Really?
It's not about even telling people to go to the farm, but making the information available to them. And that is what we are going to do. So this campaign is not going to be about the usual. People are going to come out we want to, we know. This is the time to tell you, this is what we have done. Go there and check. As I'm talking to you, we have a methanol and liquid ammonia plant that is going to employ over 6,000 people. That is bringing everybody to that axis.
In case our viewers are wondering how vast Honorable Ajipe is with these things, it's part of those who were also instrumental under the government of Akeredolu in ensuring that some of these things come to life.
We facilitate Ondo-Linyin industrial hub into this place. We were in China, we signed nine letter of intent. And as I'm talking to you, that place will have surpasses over 15 different companies that are there. So we are the facilitator. So, and that bi-city agreement was the first of its type as far as Nigeria is concerned. Not only in those states.
Really, let's go back to politics basically now.
Yes.
To the local government where you come from.
Yes.
Or what?
Yes.
Some in Ondo State. What's happening in that local government at this time? The choice of the running mate to Mr. Governor is coming again from the local government. How are you managing that situation, considering what perhaps some other local governments are feeling at this time?
Well, I don't know what other local governments are feeling. Anyway.
Some say perhaps it should be central, being on that ticket with Mr. Governor. Someone from the central.
Well, I know that there's unconventional zoning as far as Ondo State politics is concerned is that of Mr. Governor. The deputy can come from anywhere that Mr. Governor deemed fit that to have come from. And at the same time, you cannot have the governor and the deputy governor to come from the same zone. And in this case, we have not gotten the governor and the deputy governor to come from the same zone. And let me say something to you. I may be wrong, but people that understand this will know that I'm not wrong. Ondo North is the capital of progressive of Ondo State. So it's not.
Hitting the nail on the head.
Yes.
Really.
Okay, with that, I guess this is where we'll have to draw the curtain on the show this morning. We've been having a chat with Chief Alex Ajipe, an APC chieftain, and taking a look at Ondo 2024 and the chances of APC. Well, thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show this morning.
It's my pleasure, and maybe I will seek your indulgence to have more time so that we can look at industry without mixing it with the politics. Because industrialization in Ondo State is, I believe, it should be a patriotic assignment for every one of us, irrespective of the party. And regardless of what any politician will come and say.
All right, we take that as your party shot. All right, from Zaid?
Of course, yes. It's a new month. I have to say happy new month to Chief Ajipe, and of course our viewers who've joined to take a watch of these conversations we've had this morning. We're hoping that it's going to be a
all right, I just want to say buckle down on your efforts to make sure that your dreams count. My name is Folashade Ogidon saying have a blessed month. Bye.